your minds are with me. Now, my background is I'm an engineer. I have 25 years of entrepreneurship history, mostly something like steel. Nothing. Because I had a software company and something on mobile phones, I know a lot of people from Nokia and so forth that are interested, and I luckily got rid of most of the steel in the spring, so I decided to do what I really want to do instead of what I happen to do. Then, for you to understand why I'm doing this, of course, hobbies, strange hobbies to read. I like philosophy a lot, and I like quantum physics. And then I'm a very curious person, so I ended up doing something like that. Partly also because I meditate, but let's not go into those details. I want to just present something. First, Churchill, empires of the future, empires of the mind. I think we all should do as Churchill says. Believe it. So how do you guys feel? Some days we feel better, some days worse. That's life. Or is it? Fate. Things influence us. We know that. We can measure it, and in Quantified Self we do it because we try to change our behavior in order to feel better. Very simple. Our moms already taught us that. So of course, let's do like mom said. I just want to build an app which would achieve that we would feel better. Simple. How do we do that? So I chose the mind, because it's the ultimate challenge. It's the ultimate quantifying challenge. Actually all of our existence, of course. A piece is in it, and it's there. And it's not explored yet. It's white. We don't know really much about it. So since I don't have any background in neurology, I'm not a doctor, sorry. Doctors are very good, but I don't know. So at least nobody can prove that I'm wrong. Some definitions, very difficult. We only need to understand maybe that in the mind there's a lot of things, but there is consciousness, and especially there's subconsciousness. We should understand, for instance, that Freud and Jung already discovered that waking consciousness, which some of us has, is the tip of the iceberg, and subconsciousness is the rest of the iceberg. We know there's an enormous amount of things happening in the subconscious. For instance, listening to that wonderful music. So, what is mind and health? If we think about health now, it's a measurement of quality of life right now. That's one way to look at it. And what we also know is that the mind knows everything which happens to us. So if we could read the mind, we would know everything. We would know our health. So the vision is, this is a vision. Don't ask me now all the details, and you all have opinions on this, but the vision is, we try to measure as much as possible. We will try to integrate data into a database, and then redistribute this to whoever the individual wants, and then offer an app that tries to interpret it in such a way that we would feel better. I know, high goals, it's a little bit like going to church where the priest tries to sell something which is not really concrete. But let's see what is concrete. The mind uses senses, memory and brain, so we need to measure. And we have sensors, data, and then we have processing. That's what we need in order to simulate the mind, at least in those parts. So we come to sensors. We are now at the stage where there's an enormous amount of sensors coming out and already existing. My favorite ones, of course, which my wife really likes when I run around with the emote. On the head, I look really strange. I have my way, zero. There comes interaction. It's EEG, it's just electricity. Very nice. It gets really like a lot of data. Already now we have patches by markers, giving glucose and so forth. They are non-intrusive. They are functioning with Bluetooth. but there is roughly 10 to 20 coming out next year. Enormous risk. People are doing it. There's a lot of smart people among you here who can do these things. I'm not trying to pretend I would know anything about how to build it. I just want to use it. There's a lot of skin conductance, stress. Met some people from MIT. Two big MIT projects coming out with skin conductance. Really smart guys. Excellent devices. Fitbit, of course. We have Finnish watches giving you lots of data. Just as usual, go and weigh yourself. Intelligent shirts, computers on the arm. Possibly have really nice cameras. Just included that. And of course, Google is coming up with glasses. There's earplugs. There's a lot already existing. And not to forget, what we know is coming out, different sensors, like the senses of smelling coming in. These are just descriptions of what is coming next year. We also know there's already on the product mobile MRI. If we think EEG is nice, imagine when you have a mobile MRI. You really start to get a lot of information what's happening. So my approach on this is not to understand any certain thing about this. I don't know if they are right or wrong. But I know that if I put all the data into one place, I will be able to simulate the mind. So I want to create a data integrator, system integrator, which is, of course, using those sensors I just described, and then to use the existing apps. Try to use all what you described today, what was health and so forth. Different people use different apps. Try to get these to feed the data into just the integrator, to generate enormous amount of data for each individual. There's other data. If we just know the location, we know the weather, we know the humidity, we know all these things with influences. If we use the phone's microphone, we know what sound is coming in. Lars is telling me what the frequencies are. We know that some frequencies are really nasty, like mother-in-law's scream. So we try to get it in there. How does it influence our mind? Of course, basic data, we need that. Big question is DNA. 23andMe, shall we include it? I would like to include it, but there's a lot of privacy issues, there's a lot of ethical problems with DNA if you feed it into such a system. But let's see. Automatic data news. Well, what's today's news? Good or bad? Israel is attacking again. How does it influence my mind? Maybe it influences, maybe not. It's individual, but if we have the data, we can analyze. So I have made last month, got GNS Healthcare to join this team, and GNS Healthcare is one of the biggest bulk data processing companies, health data in the United States. They just take enormous amounts of data, crunch it, and see what comes out, without presuming that this causes this. Maybe the reason for that we're feeling bad is that temperature is too high, humidity is too high. Maybe it was the hamburger yesterday, maybe the bottle of wine 3 days ago. Not that right now we feel like we have a flu. If we have enough data, we can accumulate knowledge. So we try to form algorithms through GNS Healthcare. They have a wonderful name for it, supercomputer-driven reverse engineering forward simulation. That's what they call it. I don't really understand it all, but it sounds excellent. They do it. So now we come to timing. You guys have been talking about something you do now. I am actually predicting the future. This is a futuristic week. We know that we need to be there at the right time. So, the technology, yes, we have a lot of devices already, and more is coming. Computing power, storage, everything is here now, or it will be within the 3 years. Knowledge, yes, we have empirical studies. We know a lot. We acknowledge that the mind is actually today acknowledged to be the main driver for health. If we could just influence the mind of people, we talked about it today, the mind, then we would feel better. We know that. And then we come to the main point, which was being discussed all the time. Is the mindset ready? Are we ready? Do we accept? I remember when Nokia launched the carry-on phone a few years ago, people said, nobody's going to carry a phone. Jesus, that's absurd. Everybody hated it. And now everybody loves it. So mindsets change, and I think mindsets, which we discussed today, we are the forerunners, of course, sitting here, but the mindset in the general public is changing to accept technology as a solution to improve life. So, modern life demands actually extending the mind. So, my answer, of course, is yeah, it's right. Now is the right time to start building this. So, how do I go forward on this small little task? In the team, so I'm talking about the team, a big project with a lot of, we started with building a system integrator and collecting data. We are working with Matthias already on this, and I hope to have that within 6 months. Then we go data crunching in the second quarter 2013, and the integrator, system integrator, to process recent user data at least by then. And 2013 we also go and develop separately as a separate project the Mind app, which I will show you in just a while. So the Mind app will be one user of the system integrator. And then in 2014, I want this team to be in the finals of the Nokia Sensing X Challenge. Nokia Sensing X Challenge, has any one of you heard about it? Yeah, it's not really publicized that much. They publicized it in end of May first, and they said that they're going to have the first part in the fall of 2012. And actually, yesterday evening at 9 o'clock, I got the rules. They are 4 months late on trying to decide the rule. It was version 13, but now they are ready. So they are launching it, but they have 2 finals, one in 2013 and one 2014. I predict that we are ready by 2014. The X Challenge, it's an X prize. It's a big American thing, the same as a Virgin flew to the air and you dive down and ranging a lot. So please look at the Nokia Sensing X Challenge. For any self-quantifier, especially, read the document they published yesterday. It is the best comprehension of what you can do with sensors today. It's really a well-written paper. They forgot to take out that it's version 13 or something like that. So they worked on it. Smart people have been doing this text. Okay, it's good text and it's good description on sensors there. So the Mind app, Connecting Minds project is competing with that. And then if we are successful, we go commercially to 14 to 15. So it's not something I promise to be ready in 6 months, so it's a big thing. So the structure of what I call the team, we first want to create the integrator. Everything goes open source. In order to do that, we need partners. We need sensor makers for all these different to join us, because we are going to be part of their future, and app companies to join us. Because we want to start collecting data, and it's going to be big data. So every sample which we collect is 24/7, so 24 hours, 7 days, trying to do with roughly 30 sensors, trying to really get to big database for 1 week batches, so we can start doing the first runs in the first quarter. But it's so that if you have EEG, it's in microseconds, so you get 12 to 20 data per second. So for 1 week, and with 50 sensors, it's quite a nice database already there for GNS to crunch. And then we are separately, but at the same time, developing the app, because we want people to feel that it's useful for them to have. So the different kind of members in the team are, well, invest and sponsor, we need money. Because we have some already, but I'm not finished with the first stage fund sourcing. First year budget is 600,000 euros. It looks like the Finnish state is going to be very friendly to it. I sat yesterday with the former CEO of Nokia, and this is in line with what we want to do. But to be honest, the feedback I got in San Francisco when I was there a month ago was much more positive to these ideas than Finnish or even Swedish. Sorry, our mentality is not really open for this. But I'm trying to open. It's just up to mind. Open source team members. We need people in that one. Quantified self data feeding team from San Francisco. I got Ernesto and so forth. The guys were really positive to this, so I think we will get people to do it as long as we just get the structure. And especially the sensor and app team members, the companies need to join. One of the motivating reasons is that all team members have access to all data from test stream. Another sponsor which I have has orally committed is Biogen EDEC, which is the world's largest Biogen company, market cap 35 billion US. Because the vice president told me they don't have this data. If I can fix the data, it's in. Because it's such a data, it's so-called non-linear data, which they need, for instance, for Alzheimer's research, and I'm sure for Parkinson, whatever. Medical research is really in big trouble when it's about the brain and mind. They need data and non-linear data, for instance, what we can produce here. So, the reason why you would join us in this team, if you're a sensor app company, you get access to real-time big data that helps you develop your own business. So I think this is for all a big advantage to cooperate, to get data, not only from the node, to see how is it related to the other. Get a potential sales channel and get access to a wider range of partners, investors, and so forth. For self-quantifier, please report to me if you want to participate in this, because then I know that we have people who is interested to really take these devices and have them on them for a week at least to generate data. I'm not asking 1 month to run around with on a trip or something like that, just to locate 1 week and life and try to see it quicker. And you learn about yourself. We need JavaScript programmers for the open source to help to build a kind of interface which is interesting for you guys. So you can integrate your own devices and so on. It's open. And of course, in generally, investments, health, data, you get access to information, you get access to see which devices work. There's so much devices coming, so much apps, so we need to have platforms to understand and evaluate. And my final wish, wouldn't it be nice to have the extended mind where you kind of see, you just feel a little bit bad, you see well the reasons, and you can kind of slide here and there and see whether it was the red wine or whether it's your flu or whether it's your auntie staying 2 weeks at your home. Of course, from EEG and so forth, we can have attention measuring devices. How attentive are you guys now? It's really, but they have to be improved. And they are only improved if we get a wider range of data, not only the EEG, other data to support. We would like to know why we're happy, why we are energetic, to understand why, and then we can improve our lives. So I'll finish with our favorite Mark Twain, because in quantum physics it's always a question of mind, matter. So if you don't mind, it doesn't matter. Thank you. This was. So that Martin gets his computer mind.
Questions for Gustaf?
Yeah.
Question.
Yes.
Why are you going to use an integrator rather than build it yourself?
Well, the integrator is because we need to get such a wide variety of data. Of course, my dream would be that there would be hundreds of kind of sensors connected to it.
Yeah.
So the system integrator has to be a separate entity which is really open so that it can feed in and feed out so that everybody gets comfortable. And storage will not be there. So we don't, when we talked about privacy, it has to be really open and so that all the participating parties are happy with it. Otherwise, nobody is going to like it. I talked to Polar watches. They were actually quite negative to this. Strange, but because they would like to have the data only to their own app. But I think everybody is realizing that you cannot kind of secure your data feed only to your own apps. Data feed has to go through something like the integrator.
Yeah. My feeling is that an integrator will just burn all of your cache in the bucket.
You may be right. I don't know.
So I think maybe there are other ways to do this.
I'm happy to
get
zero advice on that. Tell us.
I will. You can take what my company's built already and I can white label it to you. So back there.
Yeah, maybe a similar comment, but this reminds me a lot of the 80s AI projects trying to reproduce the brain. You know, when you have expert systems and people spend years and a lot of money trying to reproduce the brain. They achieved a lot of interesting steps, but never achieved the final goal. And it feels like you're going to unlock a lot of histories with a lot of elements, but you'll never get where you want to go. So why not take the other approach and say, some people are willing to work with you. There are some databases that can scale enough, fast enough, so that you deliver something in 6 months. Why not then take an iterative approach and deliver slowly your process and try to interest more and more people? Because the technology, once it's built, is extremely complex. So if you start only when it's done to interest users, many other companies like Google, Google Glasses will have already worked on the same problem. Right? And Facebook will certainly go into that. And Nokia will probably go into that too. As an outsider, why not launch a product that integrates with Files and see what comes out of this?
There's many answers. There was a question with many parts. I'll start with the artificial intelligence. It was a scientifically kind of motivated scientific approach whereby you can reduce things and try to find a solution of reductionism. So in philosophy, there is 2 ways to look at things. Either you reduce it in the smallest component and try to understand it, or you just give up and say, there is no small component, we have to take the whole thing. So if you know the argument between Freud and Jung was that Freud thought that it was principally a reductionist. You could reduce it and understand it easily when Jung said the subconscious is group conscious. So I believe in Jung's concept of group. So it means that I cannot solve the details. I can just create an atmosphere where we take everything in and have kind of a group mind. It's a group thing. So in that sense, I'm not trying to model the thing. I'm just taking all the data and letting it tell what the truth is. So that is maybe answer to the first. To the other one about the data, I talked to a lot of companies about existing data. Nobody. Actually, everybody is really. And data is such a strange thing, especially when we start talking about this kind of data. Finished state, finished research, nobody gives anything out because the law prohibits. Your guys with the apps and so forth, we talked about the sports, nobody gives out. So we just have to create it if we want to create this. So it's true. It's a long way. And it would be maybe smarter of me to say that now we can use something which is existing. I just have a vision whereby this is not going to be ready tomorrow. If we want to do it right, it will be ready 2040, 2050. We're going to compete in the Nokia X Challenge, and we're going to see if I was right on this. So I don't have the answer whether this is the smartest or not. I cannot answer it because I cannot answer what the mind knows.
But wouldn't it be smarter anyway to try to achieve it like at 10% and see if you get 10% right? I think you really need to get 100% of the way to verify your
I think the open source with people joining like Quantified says it's not going to be 10 million. It's going to be 1 million per year. If we come a small step, we get the next million, and then we get the next 2 million. We get enough money. I yesterday sat with the former CEO of Nokia and he said, you solve the big data, and money is not the problem. If you find a way whereby you get the system to work so that we can collect through that data, money is not the issue. And this is where we get the money in, because we just try to solve that.
It can be done now.
Yeah, what was the goal of the whole project? I mean, what's the goal of collecting all this data?
The goal was to have an application whereby you can, on one place, feed from all these different apps and from different sensors into one central part, because that's the only
Like
way.
an interface.
Yes, interface. And then, of course, you have the interface, but then you have your own app, which, of course, at the same time, we try to generate an application which is user-friendly, so that the user can see also what is happening to my mind right now. And I have all these feeds in, and what do all these separate really mean? And of course, it has to be an individual algorithm, it has to be a self-learning algorithm. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of heavy stuff which is going to be behind that. But the idea is that any one of you can check and see what is the reason I feel bad today. What was it? And you can learn from it. It's the same quantified self principle. If you know, you can learn and you can improve. So that's the goal. Help. Generally, it's a big thing.